All right, what do we got going on today? Well, today we're doing AN lines. With the new firewall, we have to redo all the AN lines, so that's what we're gonna start. I ended up getting all of the rear mount stuff back in the car. It's crazy to see how much space the new firewall actually brings. This actually bolted right up to the old firewall. So look at how much space we have. Got the fuel cell back in there, got the radiator and heat exchanger in there, along with the heat exchanger water pump. Everything's in there just for mock-up purposes, just so I can see where I want to put everything. So I'm going to start planning stuff, and then we'll start attacking. I do still actually have to put the fire suppression bottle back in. I don't really have to route all the lines or anything yet, but last setup, the lines went underneath the fire suppression, so just in case we have to route it like that again, I'm going to run it like that. I'm going to put it on that way just in case. Alright, fire suppression bottle is in. I know the line I said didn't need to be routed, and technically it's not, it's just hand tight in there. I just did that so I knew the height of where the bottle was sitting. The reason I set the bottle up like this, where it's facing, is mostly due to this label. So you can actually read the label when you peek in through that part. That way you don't have to take the bottle out during tech inspection. I'm not 100% sure where I want the lines to go exactly, but they will probably end up somewhere around here. Originally I was thinking it'd be right there, but that might just be cutting it a little too close to the actual bottle. I will have like 1 or 2 lines coming out over here as well, but yeah, right now I'm leaning towards here. Alrighty, so I just took a little bit of time and made this kindergarten drawing. So this is the actual rear of the car. We got the firewall, we got the fuel cell, heat exchanger, and radiator. The heat exchanger has 2 ports. The radiator has 1 over here and 1 over here. To make it simple, we'll just do 2 on this side, 2 on this side. The reason being, we'll have the radiator coming out, easy, go boom boom. The heat exchanger in, easy, boom boom. Now it gets really complicated because the heat exchanger has to come in, and then it's got to go through and then then it has to go through a bunch of weird stuff, and then over to the pump, and then yeah. So that's pretty much where we're at. The front of the car with all my bulkheads looks just like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. So I labeled everything, and now we know where we're at. I think a good goal for today might just be to get the lines on the inside of the car done, and then we can worry about the actual ice box and all of that like at a later date, because we still have to do the swirl pot that we got from Dane, still got to make an ice box, still got to do all of that stuff in the rear. So at least we'll get the inside done and we can call it a day on that. Alright, I've got all the lines set out from last year. I'm just gonna cut all the zip ties and take all the sheeting off, and then I'll start laying it out. I'll probably re-put the sheeting on, but as far as right now goes, we don't need it. So just all done. Obviously with the zip ties cut, it's not a perfect circle, but yeah, that's done. Let's start mocking it up inside the car. Alright, we got all the line in over here. I'm actually really happy with how that turned out. Last year we had these 2 lines running underneath and then those 2 lines running over, but it cleans up way nicer doing it that way. If you can follow all along. It'll go right on the side of the passenger seat, comes up over here. So I have one of the actual engine lines brought up over that way because we're gonna bulkhead it probably somewhere around here. Same with this heat exchanger line, it'll be somewhere right here. These 2 lines will more than likely go over there. I'm gonna go on the other side and just kind of visualize where I want them to be. Alright, the rear firewall bulkheads are officially drilled in, roughly put in there. Before I run the AN line, I'm actually going to go eat. It's like 3:30, 4 o'clock, and I haven't had breakfast or lunch yet, so yeah, I'm gonna go do that, and then I'm going to start doing more of this. That's pretty much how the bulkheads will look on both sides. Those two are done. Those two are done. Yes, this side is much higher than that side. That's because it's easier for serviceability on the actual other side of the firewall. Same with over here, it's easier to work on in the rear, or on the bottom. The holes didn't really drill perfect. This is kind of like really small sheet metal. It's within spec on technical rulebook, but there's so much deflection within the firewall, like just like, not like so much, like couple inches, but like any little movement when you're drilling, it'll walk. So they didn't really get drilled the greatest, but we're gonna make a bolt-in bulkhead. We're not gonna use these screw-on stuff, so it'll look all right, I guess. But yeah, that's where we're at. I'm gonna go be back. Alrighty, next up is cutting lines. I'm gonna start with the shortest and then work my way. I'm gonna get everything cut, and then we'll pull it out of the car to actually get lines made. Actually, I don't have any -12 here. All we have is -16, so I'm probably just gonna do the -16 for now. Leave the 12. I'll cut them short enough, but I'll probably leave the 12. Yeah. All done. What I normally do is I take this piece off. Gives me a good place to measure for the cut for the actual AN line. Now that that piece is pulled off, I'm going to tape the line, mark it, cut it, and then call it a day. Alright, everything is rough cut. I've got the line marked for where that needs to go. Obviously I can't redo the -12 because I don't have any PTFE fittings, but it's slowly cut there. That way I can do it later and not have to worry about the big hose. Same thing with this line. I just kind of put that there just to kind of get a rough idea. And line goes right there. That'll go along like that. Now I have to pull it out of the car and just do the -16, and then I'll have to put it in the car, do the -12 later, and I'll get the fittings ordered tonight, but I completely forgot we were out of -12. Yeah. We got AN line, let's just cut them right now. Boom, all done. Fresh fittings, ready to go. I'm gonna roll them up, put them away, and wait for the -12 to get here. Now that the AN lines on the inside are cut, besides the -12, they're cut and fitted, I'm gonna work on mounting the swirl pot. That's backwards. Mounting the swirl pot from Dane over at Cloud Culture Fab. So ideally, I think I'm gonna put it right here, just because it gives us a straight shot to the bulkhead fitting down there. Unfortunately, I have to cut off the nice mounts from Dane. Sorry, Dane. These are set up so you can like bolt on a bracket and do all that stuff, but I want it flush against the firewall. So I'm gonna cut those off and then mark that, cut it, and we'll go from there. Cutting those tabs really freaking sucked. I didn't even film any of it. I really should have, but it sucked. So now I have the plate that needs to be drilled for right here. I'm going to pull these bolts off and then mark it and drill it, I guess. Pretty simple. I actually do like the piece up here because it aligns with the bulkhead better, but it's also easier to fill and I don't need to mess with anything over here. Sucks that I have to make a bracket for it and I couldn't just utilize the tabs that Dane had already made. Overall, it should work pretty good. So, ignore my messy bench. It's been a little while. Became a table for random other crap. Alright, I'm also going to shape the edges, sand it down, clean it up, do all that fun stuff while it's right here. The burst. Now it's a shape. Just like that, we have a bracket. kind of ready to weld. It'll go right about there. Boom. Marked, ready to weld. Now, I'm not the best TIG welder, but I mean, I think I can do it. That'll hold. So I'm just gonna clamp it together and maybe put some tacks in it, and we'll see if I feel confident enough to weld it. Yeah, we'll start with that. I got my clamp kind of ghetto-y. Let's see if I could even get a tack on this. I mean, I think that's gonna be a great testament and see where we go from there. Yep, I suck. I also haven't TIG welded in like 7 months. Oh, I think I got a tack. If I can get going, I know I can get. I think that's a tack. It's held together. It should work. Well, the tacks are definitely holding. I think that's kind of where we want it. The height not super tall. I mean, it kind of looks like it could go up higher from here, but can't really go much higher because you're gonna have a cap here. You don't really want the cap to go too high. I think that'll work. Well, I broke the tack trying to bend it in a good angle, but I guess I'll re-tack it and just weld it, I guess. Got the mini hammer. Have I mentioned I'm not great at TIG welding? We're gonna make it work. Alright, obviously the weld isn't perfect by any means. It ain't great, but it should hold up. We're just using a 110 Everlast. It's nothing like what Dane used to weld these dime pieces, but I mean, I think it'll hold. It's admittedly not even close to anywhere near my best work. It really sucks, but I haven't welded in quite some time and I didn't want to take the time to do some practice beads. So that's where we're at, but you know what, whatever. It'll hold, it's on the back side, can't even see it. So I think it'll be good. I'm gonna let it cool and then I'll bolt it up, test fit it, yada yada. All mounted, here we go. Boom, doesn't look too bad. Now, the reason I didn't move it all the way over was to keep room for the icebox. I have no idea where it's gonna be, but I know it's somewhere over here. So I wanna leave room. That doesn't look too bad though, I don't think. Let me know in the comments, somewhere down there, if it's terrible. That's where I'm at. I guess I'm gonna do some test fit with the hoses and see how it all lines up and how it looks. All right, so here's where I'm at. I've got a 90 coming down. One of the biggest issues that we're gonna have back here is on top, that's our dash 12, and then on bottom is our dash 16. Now I had to put the dash 12 on top, mostly for the interior. It was not happening to put the 16 on top for the interior. Everything would have just been way too crisscrossed and all that. So we're gonna make it work. I'll show you my thought. So instead of having a 90, I put a 45 on just to test fit, and it'll kick it out ever so slightly. Granted, that's a push log fitting for dash 12. I just wanted to make sure I had enough clearance. With it kicked out ever so slightly, I'm able to push it up all the way up there. So I'm able to kick it out and around, not a huge bend right there, and it goes straight up to that 90. It basically look like that. I don't think I have an issue with that. I mean, that doesn't look too bad to me. The gap right here kind of makes my OCD go a little crazy, but I think it'll be fine. Granted, I could probably put like a 120 there, kick it out, and then it suck it into the firewall a little bit like that. But I don't know, I think I'm just gonna roll with it like that, and I honestly think it'll work. And just like that, we have a fitting. It's actually a pretty straight shot up. It's like, so technically down, but it's up coming that way. I have a really short piece that obviously we weren't going to use, but that was just left over, cut from doing the inside. So originally I was thinking about putting a 45 here and running it along, but I actually like how this 90 fits, because then we can get to our suspension, and then you just put a 45 up here, boom, boom, super clean. Obviously we gotta redo that bracket, but yeah, that's it's pretty cool. I actually like how that turned out. Looks pretty clean. Got it tilted just a little bit so it doesn't hit the fuel cell mount. Well, I think that's going to do it for this video. I still have to wait for fittings and whatnot, so I can't really finish all of the AN lines. I have a lot of dash 16, but I think I need like 3 more feet just to finish the radiator. And then the dash 12, I can't really reuse. Like I can, but I still have to order parts because it's PTFE and it crimps what's called a ferrule on it. So I have to get either a ferrule or just new fittings in general. Either way, I have to actually order it. So thank you anyways for watching. I hope if you didn't know something about this and now you learned, I mean, that's cool because you learned something watching this video. If not, and you just watched just to watch, thank you anyways for watching. Comment below if you've made it this far. I really appreciate you guys. Really can't wait to get into the season. Yeah, I just want to drive. Just want to drive so bad. Anyways, yeah, thank you. Till next time.